Chosen one, listen carefully. I carry an urgent message today, and this message is not for everyone. This is not for those who walk casually, doubting God, mocking faith, or chasing the noise of the world. No, this message is only for those who walk the narrow path, those who have been called, marked, separated, and quietly prepared by God Himself. If you are not walking with God, this message will not stay with you. But if you are truly chosen, you will feel something stir inside you right now, because this message has reached you at the exact moment it was meant to. Chosen one, stop worrying. God has already calibrated your path. Nothing in your life is off course. Nothing is late. Nothing is broken. Every delay, every pause, every closed door has been measured with divine precision. And today, God wants your restless mind to finally rest. I need you to stay with me till the very end, because what I'm about to share will lift a heavy weight you've been carrying silently. This message will realign your thoughts, calm your spirit, and remind you who is truly in control. Before we continue, chosen ones, give a like to this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, tap the bell icon, and share this message with other chosen ones so they can receive this divine reassurance. And comment 777 in the comments to declare that you trust God's timing and alignment over your life. Now take a deep breath. Let's begin. Why you've been worrying. The burden of the chosen mind. Chosen one, let me speak to you plainly, the way a wise father would sit you down and look you in the eyes. You've been worrying not because you lack faith, but because your mind carries weight most people never have to carry. You see deeper, you sense more, you notice what others ignore, and that alone can feel heavy. You were never designed to live on the surface of life. Your mind doesn't skim, it dives. While others are distracted by comfort, entertainment, and temporary satisfaction, your thoughts wander into purpose, destiny, meaning, and responsibility. That is not a flaw, that is a mark. But when a deep mind lives in a shallow world, tension is inevitable. You worry because you feel responsible for things you haven't even been shown yet. You worry because your spirit knows there is more ahead, but your eyes cannot see it clearly. And when vision delays, the mind tries to fill the gap. That's when worry creeps in, not because God is absent, but because you are trying to carry tomorrow with today's strength. Chosen ones often mistake awareness for anxiety. You are alert, not afraid. You are vigilant, not faithless. But the enemy loves to twist vigilance into worry. He whispers, if you don't think about it constantly, you'll miss it. If you relax, everything will fall apart. That is a lie. A subtle one, but a lie nonetheless. You worry because you care deeply about your calling, about not wasting time, about doing right by God, about not failing the assignment placed on your life. But hear me clearly now. God never asked you to carry the outcome. He only asked you to walk in obedience. Outcomes are His responsibility, not yours. Another reason you worry is because you've outgrown old versions of yourself, but you haven't fully stepped into the new one yet. That in-between space can feel unstable. You don't fit where you came from, and you haven't fully arrived where you're going. That space is uncomfortable. It makes the mind restless. It makes you question yourself. But that space is not confusion. It is transition. And transitions always feel uncertain to those who don't understand divine process. You are shedding layers. Old thinking, old limitations, old attachments. And shedding always feels like loss before it feels like freedom. So your mind asks questions your spirit already knows the answer to. You also worry because you walk alone more often than not. Few people truly understand you. Few can relate to your thoughts, your convictions, your silence. So when pressure builds, there is no one to fully unload it onto. You carry it inward, quietly. That silence can amplify worry if you're not careful. But let me say something strong now. Your worry is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a sign that something great has been entrusted to you. Ordinary minds don't wrestle with destiny. Ordinary souls don't feel the weight of alignment. Ordinary people don't question their path this deeply. Yet here is where I correct you with love and authority. Worry becomes dangerous when it turns into self-doubt, when it convinces you that you must constantly manage what God has already mapped. That is when the burden becomes too heavy, because you were never designed to be the architect. You are the vessel. Chosen one, God sees your mental fatigue. He sees the nights you replay conversations, the moments you wonder if you're behind, the silent fear of missing your moment. But God is not threatened by time, and neither is your calling. Your path does not require your anxiety to function. It requires your trust. Worry feels productive because it gives the illusion of control. It makes you feel like you're doing something, but in truth, it drains clarity. It clouds hearing. It tightens the spirit, and a tight spirit cannot move freely with God. Let me ground you now. If God calibrated your path, then worry is unnecessary. Calibration means adjustment, precision, intention. It means nothing is excessive and nothing is lacking. Even your delays have purpose. Even your questions are allowed. But your peace must be protected. You are not behind. You are not lost. You are not failing. You are becoming. And becoming often feels uncomfortable to the mind before it feels powerful to the soul. So take this truth with you into the next part. You've been worrying because you're chosen. But you don't have to keep worrying to remain chosen. God has already accounted for everything you're afraid of. Now let me show you how deeply and precisely God has calibrated your path. God's calibration. Nothing in your life is random. Chosen one. I want you to slow your thoughts right now. Not tomorrow. Not later. Right now. Because if you truly understand what I'm about to tell you, a large portion of your worry will lose its grip on your mind. God does not improvise. He does not guess. He does not experiment with your life. When I say your path is calibrated, I mean it has been measured, adjusted, refined, and aligned with intention. Calibration is what an expert does when precision matters. And your life requires precision. You see events. God sees alignment. You see delay. God sees preparation. You see confusion. God sees sequencing. Nothing in your life happened randomly. Not the family you were born into. Not the city you live in. Not the heartbreaks you endured. Not the doors that closed without explanation. Every single element was factored into your becoming, even the parts that hurt. Chosen ones struggle here because you want clarity before movement. But God often gives movement before clarity. Why? Because clarity grows as you walk. If God showed you everything at once, your mind would collapse under the weight of it. So he releases truth in portions, strength in measures, and understanding in seasons. Think about this carefully. Calibration requires tension. If something is loose, it cannot be calibrated. If something is rigid, it breaks. God applies just enough pressure to adjust you without destroying you. That's why your life has felt intense but not fatal, challenging but not consuming, heavy but survivable. The delays you hate were not punishment. They were protection. You were not ready for what you were asking for at the time you asked for it. Your character needed strengthening. Your discernment needed sharpening. Your spirit needed grounding. And God loves you too much to hand you blessings that would crush you instead of elevate you. You compare your timeline to others because you're looking horizontally instead of vertically. Their path is not calibrated for your calling. What works for them would damage you. What comes easily to them would distract you. God slows you down because your assignment is heavier. Higher-level missions require deeper foundations. There are things you begged God for that he withheld, not because he ignored you, but because he saw further than you did. He saw how it would change you too quickly. He saw the pride it could awaken. He saw the dependence it could create. So he said, "Not yet." And not yet is still love. Chosen one, God does not rush what he values, and he values you deeply. Even your mistakes were factored into the calibration. God knew where you would misstep. He knew where emotions would cloud judgment. He knew when fear would speak louder than faith, and yet he still accounted for it. He adjusted the path without removing the purpose. That's grace. That's sovereignty. That's divine intelligence far beyond human planning. You didn't miss your moment. God doesn't operate on fragile windows. He creates moments. He opens doors that no one can shut and closes doors no one can force open. When the time is right, alignment will feel natural. You won't have to strain. You won't have to beg. You won't have to chase. Things will begin to fall into place quietly but firmly. Calibration also means restraint. God restricts you from certain spaces, people, and opportunities because they would pull you off frequency. You call it rejection. God calls it redirection. You call it loss. God calls it pruning. And pruning always precedes growth. There are relationships that ended because they could not go where you were being taken. There were versions of you that had to die so the next version could breathe. That process feels painful because death always does. But what emerges afterward carries authority, clarity, and peace. Let me say this boldly now. If your life feels slow, it's because God is being careful with you. If your progress feels quiet, it's because God is building something stable. Loud beginnings often end in collapse. Quiet foundations last. Stop interpreting discomfort as disorder. God often disturbs what is comfortable to align what is meaningful. And once alignment begins, the noise inside you will start to settle. Calibration also means timing. You are not late. You are not early. You are exactly where you need to be for what is forming inside you. The version of you that will step into the next season is still being refined. And God will not release you until you are ready to carry what is coming without losing yourself. Chosen one, hear this clearly. Your life is not fragile. It is intentional. Your path is not chaotic. It is precise. And your future is not uncertain. It is already known by the one who designed it. So rest your mind here. If God calibrated your path, then worrying only drains you. Trust conserves you. And in the next part, I will explain why God often does his deepest work in silence, even when you feel forgotten. And understand this as well, chosen one. Calibration also includes timing your emotional maturity. God is not only aligning events around you, he is aligning you within yourself. There are reactions you no longer have, arguments you no longer engage in, temptations that no longer control you. That did not happen by accident. That is calibration at work. You may feel like life slowed down because God reduced distractions. He removed noise so you could hear him clearly. He limited access so you could strengthen discernment. He narrowed your circle so you could deepen wisdom. That is not loss. That is focus. When God calibrates a path, he also calibrates desire. Things you once chased no longer excite you. Things you once feared no longer intimidate you. Your appetite has changed. Your tolerance has shifted. Your spirit has matured. And that internal shift is often the clearest sign that alignment is already happening. Do not overlook what is happening quietly inside you while you wait for something loud to happen outside you. God works from the inside out, never the other way around. When the inside is ready, the outside follows naturally. So take peace in this truth. If you feel stretched but stable, challenged but not broken, uncertain but still hopeful, that is not confusion. That is calibration nearing completion. The silent seasons. When God works quietly. Chosen one, this is the part most people misunderstand, and because they misunderstand it, they suffer unnecessarily. Silence. God's silence. That season where prayers seem unanswered, signs feel distant, and progress appears invisible. Let me tell you something with calm authority. Silence does not mean absence. Silence means focus. God often works his deepest, most precise work when he removes the noise. When he quiets the outside, he amplifies the inside. But the human mind, especially the mind of a chosen one, struggles with silence because silence removes reassurance, and without reassurance, the mind tries to fill the gap with assumptions. That is where anxiety begins. You see, noise gives the illusion of movement. Silence demands trust, and trust is not passive. Trust is one of the strongest spiritual disciplines there is. When God goes quiet, He is not testing your patience. He is strengthening your hearing. He wants you to recognize His presence without constant confirmation. The silent season is where God dismantles dependence on external validation. No applause, no recognition, no visible progress. Just you, your thoughts, and your faith. That's uncomfortable. But it's necessary. Because anything built on constant affirmation will collapse under pressure. Think about this. God hid Moses for years before calling him publicly. David was anointed long before he was crowned. Jesus lived quietly before he ministered powerfully. Silence always precedes impact. Always. You feel forgotten because God is protecting you from premature exposure. If He revealed you too early, people would see the gift before the foundation. And gifts without foundation attract attack. God hides what He values until it can stand. In silence, God removes what cannot go with you. Old mindsets, old fears, old attachments, even old versions of faith that were shallow or conditional. Silence strips you down so you can be built correctly. And yes, stripping hurts, because identity gets tangled in familiarity. When God removes familiarity, the soul panics before it understands. You've asked, why am I not seeing results? Because results come after roots. You don't applaud roots. You don't photograph roots. But without them, nothing stands. Silence is where roots grow. Another reason silence feels heavy is because God is teaching you discernment. When everything is loud, it's easy to mistake emotion for instruction. But in silence, you learn the difference between impulse and direction. You learn to sit with a thought before acting on it. You learn restraint, and restraint is power. Chosen one, God is not punishing you by withholding answers. He is maturing you so you can handle answers without being overwhelmed. Some truths require strength to carry. Some blessings require discipline to maintain. Silence prepares you for both. You may feel like nothing is happening, but something is always happening. Character is being refined, patience is being strengthened, faith is being deepened, and clarity is forming beneath the surface. You just can't see it yet. Let me say something firm now. If God truly abandoned you, you would feel empty, not restless. Restlessness means there is movement within you. It means something is forming. Dead things don't wrestle. Growing things do. Silence also exposes what distracts you. When noise is removed, your habits become visible. Your coping mechanisms surface. Your dependencies reveal themselves. God does this not to shame you, but to heal you. He cannot heal what you refuse to see. And here is the part that will calm you if you let it. God does not waste silent seasons. He does not extend them unnecessarily. He ends them precisely when the work is complete. Not when you demand it, not when you feel ready, but when you actually are ready. You are not stuck. You are being steadied. You are not delayed. You are being fortified. And the silence will break, not with chaos, but with clarity. When God speaks after silence, it is decisive. Directions become simple. Moves feel natural. Peace accompanies action. That is how you know the season has shifted. Until then, rest your spirit. Silence is not the absence of God. It is the presence of His hand working carefully, quietly, intentionally. And in the next part, I will show you why this silence often creates isolation, and why isolation is not rejection, but assignment. There is another truth about silent seasons that most never consider. Silence recalibrates your inner voice. When God removes constant direction, constant signs, and constant reassurance, He is teaching you to recognize His guidance within you, not as noise, not as pressure, but as quiet knowing. Chosen one, this is where spiritual maturity is formed. When you no longer panic in uncertainty, when you no longer rush to fill space with distraction, when you can sit with unanswered questions and still remain anchored. That is not weakness, that is strength. Silence also breaks emotional dependency. It forces you to stop leaning on people who cannot support your calling. It reveals who was a crutch and who was truly aligned. And while that realization can sting, it ultimately frees you, because God never intended for people to replace him. You may notice during this season that your desire to explain yourself fades. You speak less, you observe more, you react slower. That is not withdrawal, that is discernment sharpening. You are learning when silence speaks louder than words. And here is something deeply comforting if you let it settle in your spirit. God often speaks loudest through alignment, not instruction. When doors begin to open naturally,